All right, let's talk about writing a great essay. Forget all the complicated rules you've heard. Today, we're going to demystify the whole thing with a simple, powerful blueprint that just works. You know the feeling, right? That blinking cursor on a totally blank page. The deadline is getting closer and closer, and you're just sitting there thinking, where on earth do I even begin? It is probably the most frustrating feeling for any student or writer.
Well, here's the thing. You are definitely not alone in feeling that way. But the good news? There's a reliable blueprint, a kind of formula you can use every single time to build a fantastic essay, right from scratch.
So, what is this blueprint? Let's take a look. This is the core formula that honestly holds pretty much every good essay together, no matter what the topic is. So what even is an essay, really? When you boil it all down, it's just you presenting an argument. That's it. You're not just listing a bunch of facts, you're making a case. You're sharing your opinion, and this is the most important part, you're backing it up with actual evidence. And that core formula? It's so simple. Every essay you will ever write has these three basic parts. You've got the introduction to set the scene, the body paragraphs where you build your case, and the conclusion to tie it all up. Easy. Okay, section 2. This is so important. Before you even think about writing, seriously, the most critical work happens before you type a single word of your essay. It's all about the planning. Now, here's a little secret for you. The first step is to just slow down and really read the question or the prompt. It sounds so obvious, I know, but trust me, all the clues you need are hiding right there in plain sight. So when you're reading that prompt, you're looking for two key things. First, the topic keywords. That tells you what you're writing about, in this case, online learning. Then you look for the task words. That tells you what you need to do. Words like discuss, compare, or argue mean very different things. So once you know your mission, it's time to brainstorm. And you just have to ask yourself 3 simple questions. Number 1, what's my main point here? 2, what are, say, 2 or 3 key ideas that support that point? And 3, what examples can I find to make it all believable? Then you take that brainstorm and you turn it into a super simple plan. Look, for our online learning essay, the plan is crystal clear. We're going to introduce it, talk about an advantage, talk about a disadvantage, and then conclude. This is your roadmap. It makes it almost impossible to get lost when you start writing. All right, with our roadmap in hand, we are ready to start drafting. We're going to build this thing piece by piece, starting, of course, with the introduction.
A really great introduction does 3 things. First, it has a hook to grab your reader's attention. Then it gives a little background to get everyone on the same page. And finally, the most important sentence in the whole essay, the thesis statement, where you clearly state your main argument.
Let's look at this example. That first sentence, that's the background info. The second one sets up the main conflict, the pros and cons. And that last sentence, boom, that's your thesis. It's a clear promise to the reader about what's coming next. It's a perfect little roadmap. Next up, we build the body of the essay. Think of each paragraph as its own mini-essay, okay? It starts with a topic sentence stating the main idea. Then you have supporting sentences with your evidence and examples. And you finish with a concluding sentence that wraps it up and leads into the next point. So, let's see this in action. The topic sentence is super clear. One major advantage is flexibility. The next sentence explains how it's flexible, and the last one gives a really concrete example. See that? Each sentence builds on the one before it to prove the main point. That's a strong paragraph. Now, here's a crucial tip to make your writing flow beautifully. You want to use linking words. Words like moreover, however, therefore, they act like little bridges between your ideas, guiding your reader smoothly from one point to the next. And finally, we get to the conclusion. The job here is just to wrap everything up in a satisfying way. No new information, just restate your main argument in a fresh way, quickly summarize your points, and leave your reader with one last powerful thought to chew on.
But wait, you're not quite done yet. The very last step is the final polish. This is where you take a good draft and turn it into a great essay. It's all about catching those common little mistakes. So let's look at a few things to avoid. Definitely don't write without a plan and try to stick to more formal language. Instead, always plan first. And here's my favorite little trick. Read your essay out loud to yourself. I'm telling you, your ears will catch mistakes that your eyes completely missed. It's a game changer.
So, let's recap the entire blueprint one last time. It really just boils down to these 3 simple, powerful steps. First, you plan. Then, you draft. And finally, you polish. That is the whole process, from blank page to finished essay.
Look, an essay isn't a chore. It's a construction project, and you are the architect. So now that you have the blueprint for building a strong, clear, and convincing argument, what are you going to build?